Good morning. In this video we'll take a look at Deno, a new runtime for JavaScript and TypeScript. We will build a simple script that will organize media files. We have a folder called example, and in this folder we have a bunch of files. We have PNG, PDF, MP3 and exe files. We want to put them each in its own directory. So for example, if we have PDF, we want to put it into the documents folder. If there is PNG, it goes to images and so on. In the end, if I run the script and then check the folder structure, it should look like this. We should have PDF in documents, PNG in images, MP3 in music, and exe in other. Before we start working on this script, we'll need to install Deno. I'm on Mac, so I need to run brew install Deno. I also had to install the Deno extension to be able to support the Deno global namespace. You will see it during the example. Then we can create our index.js file that will contain our script. Inside of this script we will define a config. Const config equals. It will be an object describing which file extensions belong to which folders. Type dirs is an array of objects with fields type, and this will be basically an extension, PDF, directory, documents. Type PNG goes to images, and type MP3 goes to music. This is .ts file, so we can use TypeScript, and we can get the types for this config by writing type config. We declare a new type equals type of config. So what we do here, we ask TypeScript to derive the type of this config object and return it as a type. So here TypeScript calculated that config is an object that has an array of objects stored in the type_dirs property, and those objects have type, that is a string, and directory, that is a string as well. Now we can get the type of the type_dirs property. Type_dirs equals config type_dirs. And again, TypeScript calculated this type automatically. Type_dirs is an array of objects with fields type, string, and directory string. If we want to accept the folder in which we want to organize the files, we need to check the arguments of our scripts. And this is done by checking the args array from Deno. Const directory name equals Deno args 0. Deno args is sort of similar to process RGB, but now the arguments start with index 0. Now, if we have directory name, then we will perform the logic of our script. Otherwise, we will log a message to the user. Console log specify target directory. Now, if we have target directory, which in our case is example, where we have our files, we will need to create the folders, documents, images, and other. So if we have directory name, then we call the function create categories directories, and we pass config type_dirs as a first argument and directory name as a second argument. Now let's define this function. Function create categories directories. It needs to accept two arguments: type_dirs of type type_dirs that we defined earlier, and directory name of type string. Inside of this function we will go through each directory type that we have here, documents, images, music, and we will append one more, which is other, for file types that don't fit any of those documents, images, or music kinds. In our case, it will be the empty.exe that needs to go to other directory. So we create a new array, spread the type_dirs, and append a new directory, which is called other. Then we map over this array, we get the directory, we get the directory name, that will be directory name, and then current directory, directory.
Directory.
So it is actually a directory. Okay. Now we need to create a directory with this name. Deno provides a global object Deno that we use to get args, and through this object you can also call standard library functions. For example, make dir sync, and we pass the dir name there. Let's format the document. And now, after we created the directories, we need to move our files there. We will call a function called move files, and we'll pass the directory name there. And now let's define this function. Function move files, directory name, string. Inside of this function, we can iterate over a sync collection of files that we will read from the file system. Look at this. It needs to be an async function then. Async, and then for await const file of deno read dir directory name, we do the following. We get the extension name, ext name equals file name split dot, and we get the second element, which will be the extension. First element 0 will be the file name, then dot, and then the second part. Now we need to make a fallback if the file extension won't be found in our config. So if we have this extension, ext name, it means that it's a file, not a folder, and we can process it. We do the following. We define a new variable, we define a new constant, target dir, const directory, which is this field, directory, because we will now destructure these type dirs objects. We rename it to target dir with a fallback to other, and we destructure config type dirs find dir where dir type equals ext name. Or if we don't find the folder with such type, then we fall back to an empty object. So how will it work? When we will calculate the extension name, we will try to find the directory in our config with the matching type. If we won't find it, we will return an empty object. Otherwise, we will return an object containing type field with the extension and directory with the directory name. Then we will get this directory field from this config object and rename it to the target dir. If we returned an empty object during the find step, then the directory field will be missing, of course. This is why we have this fallback, where we will assign the value of other if the field directory is missing. And it will be missing if we won't find the matching object. Now we have the target directory name, and we can move the files. We will do it by renaming. We will rename their old directory to the new directory. So it will be example/empty.mp3. Now it will be example/music/empty.mp3. So we need to create a new const, old path, that will equal template string deno.cwd, which is current work directory, /directory name /file name. The new path will be the following. It will be deno.cwd directory name target dir and then file name. And then we can call deno rename sync old path new path. And we are done. Now when you run this script, because we need to read files and write files, we need to explicitly give deno the permissions to do it. We do it by providing the flags allow write and allow read, and then we provide the name of the script to run and the argument to this script. So it will be deno run allow write allow read index.ts example. And we are done. Thank you for watching this video. The code will be attached in the description, and also I now have a Discord server, so join it and ask questions there and request new videos if you want to see some other tutorials from me.